Thank you for joining us for our pre-match press conference ahead of tomorrow evening's match. Go ahead, Charlie.
Sure, I'll take the lead here. Hi, Tommy. How are you?
I'm good, Charles. How are you, mate?
Good. Not too bad. You said after that York game that when you talk to the strikers, you talk about maybe taking that extra touch that maybe they don't need to, and you'd want to see them just take that one touch finish and so forth. Has that kind of been a focus these past 2 days?
No. Only reason being is the day after we can't really train just because of the physical loading, so we do review a little bit of video, and then today we trained as a group and just focused on how best to beat Halifax with our attack, and B, prevent their attack. That's all we had time for. So everything else is just down to just doing their job, really.
Fair enough. It's probably hard to work on details like that at the moment. The other thing I just wanted to ask about now is just the way that you guys have kind of, partly by necessity, rotated through the back line. I mean, especially these last two games, you've had Dan Kaiser and Mo Farsi kind of both get a crack at both of the fullback positions. Just what have you liked about that? I mean, was there one of those combinations you liked better than the other?
Not yet, but I tell you what we're trying to do is who works well. So what we're looking at is let's get minutes under the belt so we can get into game shape for our return. B, what partnerships or trios work best in the formations we're playing, and often with the fullbacks with Tom Field out, we're looking at who can play better coming off the left, and both Mo and Kaiser are both technically very comfortable, so it was about pairing them with the right winger in front of them, and also the threat. So you look at the reason we changed it against York, because Absi's been one of the best players in this kickoff, let's be honest. And I thought Mo Farsi was outstanding against him, and they're mates, right? So that one was just to nullify. York had 0 shots on target, so we did that one. And then if you look at what we did going forward, and Mo Farsi should have had a penalty or a goal at least. So it was just about putting them in the right place. Richard Luca's been brilliant. The lad hasn't played for 2 years, so we've got to pick our times when to balance his minutes out. And we're starting to get guys getting into game shape, and B, a couple of faces getting ready to come back in.
Thanks, Tommy. I'll let someone else jump in here.
Sure.
Thank you, Charlie. Moses, you can go ahead next.
Tommy, how are you, man?
Good, mate. 1 week left, and then we'll be back in the sun of Calgary.
Hey, there you go. And you're going to have to see my lovely face, good or bad. We'll see how that goes.
I bet you've got a crack in town. We've hardly been out. so I'm looking forward to sitting in Spruce Meadows or even in my own backyard and having a little fresh air in these lungs.
Kind of leads up to my first question, the challenges. I know a lot of the guys, the official schedule came out earlier this week, knowing how things are going to play out for the rest of the season, and trying to get your players, perhaps even everybody within the Cavalry organization out in Winnipeg, just to make sure you focus on the task at hand, because it's so easy to focus on the future and playing at Spruce and being at home in your own bed, that sort of thing. How is this last little stretch, knowing that you've played like 4 games in 10 days is what you're going to be completing, is just trying to get that focus to make sure you're concentrated on HFX? Yeah,
listen, it's we talked about with every challenge there's an opportunity in it, and we either rise to it or succumb to it. And I think what we've looked at now is we're 6 games in, we're 500 in terms of our record. Could it be better? Absolutely. You look at the last few games, people, Forge is getting a lucky penalty, Valor's getting one, but before that you've got a 0-0 with Halifax and Pacific, you've got a 0-0 with us. Goals are hard to come by for all the players just because of the state they're in. So what we've got to do now is we've just got to rise to the challenge that lays ahead. We win another cup, all suddenly we're looking at this and go, great, we've bagged a bunch of points. Good news is Joe Mason's going to be in the squad for tomorrow. Bad news is we're going to send home Sergio, Camargo and Tom Field, both for scans. Something's not quite right, and we just feel when players aren't fit or eligible to play, let's get them home, because this is not an environment for injured players at all. It's a tough environment as is. So we're trying to be as human as possible in the settings we're in, because we're a week away from being complete of the first part of this triathlon. And we're also 2 games away from putting more points on the board. So they're the focuses right now.
And lastly, I was just following up on the status of some of the players that are injured. You just touched on it, that they're at home. Are you obviously this is going to be extra rest for them, but are we talking about something that might be long term, or are you more so day to day?
Well, the sad thing is for someone like Sergio, is it was his ankle that he got, I think, against Halifax, with literally the first 90 seconds of the game, and that was 2 weeks ago today. But in those 2 weeks, there's been 4 games, so the poor lad is doing everything he can, and sometimes those ankle injuries are 2 to 3 weeks, there's discomfort, and when there's discomfort, we're not forcing an issue, but we do want to take precautions and get it scanned. Tom Field, it's a thigh strain, and usually those are more 3 to 4 weeks. So there's not it's pointless he's here, and just being around his hotel room. We think the human thing to do is just put them in a place of comfort so they can focus on the rehab. Ollie Minitel in the reverse, he was on track for completing. He'd had a quad strain just before, and just had a minor setback before joining us in Winnipeg. But we want to keep him here because we feel it's important for him to be back around the team, given what he's come through last year. And then, like I said, the only other status is Joe Mason will be part of the 18 tomorrow, and then we'll just play it by ear.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, Mo.
Excellent, Moses. Thank you. Brett, if you'd like to take this opportunity to ask a few questions, you can go ahead as well.
Hey, Tommy. Coming into the bubble, going in with a game plan, how much have you had to deviate from the game plan? What have been some of the changes that you've made, either through injury or, I don't want to say through performance, because I see you after every match, and there's a lot of positives that you're taking out of these matches. What changes have you been making throughout this sort of 8-game bubble?
Perspective. That's the changes. This is unusual. Last year was unusual, the Island Games, where there was 285 days between games. To have it repeat and be 286 days. So we put it in perspective. There was starting to be a few moans about, being in the same 4 walls, about being, and I'll count myself into it, human as well. Getting on school buses to go to those jokes about it being like a blue collar prison. And we went, okay, every generation has a water fight. So while we can moan about, COVID and 18 months and everybody's in that lull, I give them 3 pictures of that came from a family member of mine that had said, look, if this was in World War II, those guys are getting on boats to get onto Normandy Beach for a fight, and they're in bunkers having their meals. So I literally did a compare and contrast, and we came out of it laughing, going, you know what? Here's the thing. We've had 6 games. Here's a bit of healthy perspective where we're at in our life. We're playing a game that we love. We knew we'd come into it. And we've already broken 2 league records in those 6 games. You know what they are? The first one against Ottawa, when we won 4-1, was the highest pass percentage, highest number of passes for a winning team in CPL history. And the one against York, where we looked like we're getting our edge back, the highest PPDA, which is passes that we limited York to, hence why they didn't get a score on target. Any of our chances we had go in, we're all talking about how, right, this is a team that's sharp. So all we've done is added a perspective. Listen, we're 6 games into a 28-game season. We're not far off. We're 2 wins away from being top again and 2 wins from the bottom. So really, it's okay.
What have been some of the pleasant surprises or things that have revealed themselves that you may not have expected, but you've enjoyed seeing?
I think this is the most dynamic team we've been around. It surprised me. After scoring 6 goals in the first 2 games, we're like, wow, this is an exciting team. Chemistry is clicking. You look now that I really like some of the pieces that are coming through. Young Dan Klomp, 22. He looks like $1 million player already, right? We were watching back the video against York, and where most centre-backs would come through the head and clear it, he's bringing it down his chest and half volleying it away. He's almost scoring goals. Richard Luca, I mean, if I'm a fan, I'm paying to watch the type of jinks and twists. And I said, he's not match fit yet. So that's been pleasing. the number of times I'm looking at Anthony Novak and Joe DiChiaro who've yet to make the headlines per se for the work they're doing in their New Jersey. And DiChiaro has hardly given a ball away. Then you look at the U Sports guys of Vic Lattori and Danny Kaiser that look like they've always been it. So for me, we've got our veterans of Jose Escalante, Marco Carducci, Mason, Ledge. They're just doing what they always do. It's actually these new guys that come in and looking proud to wear this jersey and adding quality. That's been the most breathtaking thing for us as a team, and also for a coaching staff when we sit down in the cold, hard at night and go, this is a good team. We're a win or two away from picking up momentum. So first thing is, let's get that next win, and then we'll go on a flurry.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Brett. Charlie, you can go ahead again.
Tommy, you said if you were a fan, you'd be paying to go see Richard Luca. Well, fans will be able to do that soon. Just how excited are you to bring that kind of dynamic football and that exciting those exciting sorts of players, back home?
This kid, I call him a kid. It's because Jose Escalante treats him like he's his little brother. It's brilliant. And this is the mean, tough, nasty Jose Escalante. He literally takes him under his wing wherever he goes. Richard, for somebody that doesn't speak much English, doesn't shut up. He is a pocket rocket. He brings smiles to our faces. The lads love him. They want to protect him. They want to keep feeding him with the ball. Not food, because I think he eats like a horse as well. But no, he's just entertaining. And can you imagine? All I can keep thinking of, and I told this, 12 or 13 of these players have yet to feel. I get goosebumps thinking about it, the electricity at ATCO Field. So there's no reason. When we play our home games, you get an extra yard. Look, Valor get to play 18 home games this season. We get to play 10. These things matter in a league race. So when we're back there and you got Richard Luca on one side, and whether it's Ali Musi or Jose Escalante on another, when they do something well, our crowd appreciates that. They support that. They encourage that. The kid's going to get the ball and go again. He's an entertainer. And once we're in an entertainment industry. Once he starts doing that again in front of our fans, his game will go up even further.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see that I can't wait to see Jose riding a corner flag again.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.